Tonight on Dropping the Hook, Levi Sharon on Levi's Toy and Grant Wayne on the Mayer Pro Street. And what everyone has been waiting for, the 2025 Carolina Pullers schedule. We are rolling out on the track, and let's get ready to drop the hook.
Hey, folks, welcome, everybody. This is a big night. Number one, everybody on social media has basically been asking for the last 2 months, where's the schedule? Well, folks, we have it out here. We're going to bring that up here in just a little bit. But I want to welcome two young guys in this sport. Love watching these young guys kind of take over in their father's footsteps or the elders' footsteps, because let me tell you something. Some of us ain't getting any younger. That's for darn sure. Like seeing Levi Sharon and Grant Wayne. Those two guys, Levi Sharon, everybody knows this guy with Levi's Toy. Grant Wayne, your first year last year pulling with the Mayer, and I tell you, made a lot of big changes and a lot of learning how to drive. And we were talking about that a little bit pre-show. But let's kick things off a little bit. I'm going to pull this up. Let me pull this up. I'm just going to get it out here, because if I don't, everybody's going to be like, well, I want to see it. So hang on. Let me pull it up. I'm going to get it up here. All right. If I can make that bigger, I would. But that is the schedule. It'll be going on the website. I'm going to make it look a little bit better. But looking at the schedule right here, this is 2025 schedule. The classes and stuff are being ironed out right now. And some of these events may be 2-day events. So talking with Mooresville, maybe a 2-day. Saluda right now is still a 2-day. Julian may be a 2-day. So we're looking at Albemarle, April 12th. That is less than a month away, folks. We are right back at the Stanley County Fairgrounds. We're going to be in Booneville this year, May 24th. Back in Taylorsville, we got out of that April date so it doesn't snow, hopefully, again. June 7th. Then we're going to be back in Greenville, Tennessee, June 20th and 21st. And we're going to be talking about a little bit more about Greenville, what they're doing there. June 28th, Julian. June 18th, 19th, Saluda. August 29th, Silk Hope. September 20th, Rich Hill. Everybody knows that one. That's an all-day festivities there. September 27th, Mooresville, North Carolina. Again, and that may be a 2-night. We're waiting to see. We're finalizing some things on that. October 11th, Albemarle and Hickory is on, but they have decided to move after everybody else and giving everybody a little bit of space. October 31st and November 1st. There may be a weekend change here or there towards the end of the season. But right now, this is the way it looks right now. And I'll have this posted tonight on Facebook, and I'll have it posted on the website. So that is up. That is going. So, guys, like I said, welcome. I appreciate you joining me here tonight. Now, let's go. I'm going to start off with you, Grant, because I want to go into you in a little bit, Levi, with your class. But, Grant, you're in a tough class of Pro Street Diesels. Now, you went and ran down in Diesels and Dark Corners, and that show is just insane. That is just like a diesel truck Bowling Green. If it has to do with diesels, it's going to be there. So tell me what it was like going to Diesels and Dark Corners, what kind of competition you were against.
So this was our second year going there. The first year we just had the Mayer, which had an old 12-valve in it, just to see where we stood and how everything looked and everything. And then this year we went with 3 trucks, the Minutes to Spare, Repeater Fender, and the Mayer. And that's the best of the best. I mean, no doubt about it. Whoever's got it has got it. But it was definitely a tough field. We all finished about middle of the pack both nights. Friday night was just a one-sided track all the way to the right-hand side. There was no other way to go. And then Saturday it was just about anywhere you wanted to go, really. But it's definitely a different track. It's hard, it's tight, and it's hard to be competitive there. I mean, it's good. It's fun.
How many trucks did you pull against down there?
46.
Wow. That's a lot of competition. And we talk about that. Most of our shows have 8 to 10 vehicles per class. And that's great for a show when you have, 7, 8 classes. But one of the things with that show is the biggest thing is when you start that class, that track's going to change if you run towards the end or even in the middle with that many vehicles.
Yeah. That's the way it was Friday. I think I was 12th hook on Friday, and I think the person that pulled 7th or 8th ended up winning, and then everybody else that just was behind me. I mean, I think I went 321 on Friday, and I mean, obviously people went farther than me, but they didn't come nowhere close. And Saturday, I think it was the guy. He was almost there towards the end. He was the one that ended up winning it, and the track changed drastically. It kept on Saturday, it kind of kept getting better, but on Friday it just got worse as the night went on. The moisture come back up really bad, and it started getting really, really soft. And once you cross the scales, you can't do nothing with your tires after that. So
yeah, just kind of stuck with it. So let's talk about what's going on here in the Carolinas, the biggest city. And I'm going to ask both of you guys this question. Grant, if you had to pull anywhere on our schedule, let me pull this back up again. Let me get this back up. I want to make sure I have got it here. Here we go. Open. So we got this pulled up right here. Out of all these right here, where are you looking forward to go? After running one season, where's your favorite place to go hook at?
Probably it would probably be Taylorsville, honestly.
Well, that's one thing about it. And Levi's, I got a good run of Levi here from Taylorsville. That's just a good track in general. Would you not agree, Levi?
Oh, yeah, that was a real good track.
I mean, and so let's talk about this. Both of you guys are running DOT tires. Now, how much horsepower, Levi, is your truck putting out?
We're hoping for about 780 to 800 horsepower just motor.
Just motor. Okay. Grant, what are you putting out in those Pro Street diesels now?
Putting about out 1250.
So you got a little bit more horsepower, but both of you guys have to run DOT tires. Yeah. So let's look at that a little bit. Is there a benefit, going into Taylorsville, for example? That's just a good, like I said, it's a good all-around track. When you go into Taylorsville, do you have a setup you've already got in mind when you show up there, unload that truck, and you're ready to go?
We ran
pretty much.
We ran mine all year with about the same air pressures in it, so that's where I found the likes, and I haven't really changed it much from there.
So basically, Levi, when you set your truck up, do you do a lot of big drastic changes from week to week? Say if you go to Taylorsville, and then say when you go to Julian.
No, I might change how I drive it, but other than that, the air pressures are about the same, the hitch is the same, everything like that. The only thing I'll change is how I drive it.
Grant, how about you? If you go to Taylorsville and then you go to Julian, what are you looking at? Are you going to change anything drastic, or are you kind of like him? You're going to look at what the dirt looks like out of the hole and then come out of the hole with it, more or less? And
yeah. I mean, that's about the very thing we only change is when we look at the track, just see, just might change a little bit of air pressure in the front end, but I mean, other than that, everything else stays about the same.
So, and Levi, Grant told us what his favorite one was. Where are you looking at? Because I know you do good Julian normally, pretty good.
Yeah, I love the Julian track. My truck likes that kind of dirt on that track. But my favorite one has been Rich Hill. Just the atmosphere is close to home.
It's a downhill fast run if you get a good hook out of the hole, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
That track is a little funny, though. If it gets a little bit too much water or not enough water, it seems to make a big difference real quick, because we've had some rain during the day that kind of changed things around a little bit. But, looking at the schedule, let's talk about Greenville a little bit. In fact, I'm going to call Mr. Cutshaw here when I get off the phone, get off here. tonight. So what they have done is put organic matter in that track. That track really hadn't been run on in 20 plus years. So what happened, if y'all notice, if in Levi, you weren't there, but Grant can attest to this, that track was real slick on the top, and it was hard to get into that track and get the sled moving or get the vehicle hooked into the track. But the Cutshaws have done a great job. They put a lot of money and effort in getting that track. They're ready to go back pulling and make that an annual event. And those guys have worked really hard to bring that back. So that's going to be a different track. That track is going to really come around. Those guys are working hard to bring Greenville back. Saluda right now is looking like a 2-day. And Saluda is one of those atmospheres you just like it. It's a good atmosphere. You know, the crowd gets into it. You know, you're sitting on the hillside watching the pool, and they will stick around. It don't matter if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. They love it there, no doubt about it. Mooresville, let's talk about this a little bit. Grant, how far is Mooresville away from you?
10, 15 minutes.
10 or 15 minutes. So last year, Helene kind of put a damper in that. I think, what did y'all get?
Yeah.
4.5 inches of rain somewhere along in there.
Yeah.
And so that track was a little tricky. We all kind of saw that. And that's one thing about it. A lot of the fans don't maybe not understand or why it's so hard to set up a sled. We were talking about this before. If you're a sled operator, you get on some of these tracks, especially if you get that 1-inch downpour about 2 hours before the show, boy, that can make your night a little tricky getting that sled set up. Hold on. Somebody's telling me July. I may have had that wrong. Let me look at that. Or either they sent it to me wrong. One of the two. I want to confirm that. Andrew Horner. I'm going to show this. Let me verify. I may have typed that in wrong, and if I did, I apologize, and I will fix that before I post it. See what happens when you have smartphones and you read crap too fast. There it is. That is July. Yes, I am wrong. I will fix that. I got typing too fast, but yes. Andrew, thank you. I will fix that. Shane, good to see you back. He's kind of one of our guys that hangs in every time we got one of these podcasts going. Checks us out, follows us on Facebook. Folks, if you have the opportunity, follow us on Facebook. TikTok, working on a few things. I'm gearing to release a bunch of stuff on that. And Matthew Carter, appreciate you joining us here tonight. So, folks, one of the biggest things I really want to talk about, I tell you what, let's bring this up too. That's one thing I want to do. Bear with me just a second. Let me pull this in here. Let's go to the website. All right, so if you see how the website's laid out, it's kind of like last year. I'm going to be moving some things around. The biggest thing is we're going to have that schedule up. Puller info. So these are all the forms. If there's something else you need, if you're watching along as a puller, and you need information, contact us through Facebook or contact Logan. We'll get the information you need. Full pull, no doubt about it. Those guys have come on this year. We appreciate them working with us here. Media is going to change a little bit this year, but my goal is to be at every Carolina show videoing. So I will be videoing at every Carolina show. And obviously, I'm going to keep the website pretty much the same. But if you need any information, forms, message us through Facebook, or say you've got a truck and say you want to run in a hot street class with Levi, what do we got to have to do it? That rule book's going to tell you what you need to have with your driveline shield, your shielding, and the safety equipment you need to have on that truck. So if you're looking to get into the sport, this is where you need to start. If you got questions, definitely get with us on that. Kate, I will get with you on that after the show, and I will, because the rules are a little bit different under full pull. So I'm going to get with you. I'll get with you after the show, and either me or Logan will get in contact with you about some of the rule differences as far as that goes. So biggest thing is website's pretty much the same. Biggest thing I want to talk about here, Stanley County. You look over here to the right side. Stanley County Fairgrounds is going to be our first one, April 12th. Pro Farm, Classic Mods, Altered Farm, Pro Street Diesel, Pro Stock 4s, Small Block Minis, Hot Street Gas, and Open Street Diesel. That is going to be at the Stanley County Fairgrounds. And everybody's like, well, why don't you have Light Pros? Why don't you have this? Why don't you have that? Here's the big reason, folks. He's going to run 2 shows. He's going to run one in the spring. He's going to run one in the fall. The falls, he's going to keep some of the same classes, but he's going to bring Light Pros and some of these other classes in there and mix it up. So that's kind of why it's set up that way. This is his first official pull that he's putting on himself. So we started out with this as a stepping stone, but he is looking to grow bigger and better as we go. Boonville's going to be the next one up. Look for that flyer out by the end of the week. No doubt about it. That's going to be a good show. Glad they're coming on with us this year. That is going to be a full-fledged show. That's going to be it's a great facility, plenty of room. Bring your chairs to Boonville. They have bring your seats, your chairs, your blankets, plenty of room to park your butt. And they got great food and stuff there also. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention real quick. As far as the website, that is how it's laid out. There will be more sponsors added as the season goes on. So just hang tight, folks. We are working on a lot of stuff. There's been a lot of transitions with the Carolina Pullers this year. Let's pull this one back up. And I want to share one more screen, and I'm going to get off the sharing screen mess. All right, so Full Pull Productions. This is where goes back to the Pullers. If you want to find out more information on the schedule or on their schedule, that's going to be one thing you're going to be able to do. So if we don't have a pull going on here, they run your class, you're going to go run with them. And affordability as far as pullers, your rule book is right here. There's a link to that also. And there's more other links that I'm going to be adding into the Carolina website, but that's just giving you an idea. Full Pull Productions, no doubt about it. Appreciate those guys coming on with us this year. So let's get right into the videos because this is what I like. I like showing the video. Let's move that. I'm struggling tonight. All right. So first one up. This is yours, Grant. So this is your first ever hook in Albemarle. Let's talk about this a little bit before you get started before I show the video. Your first ever hook, had you ever ran a Pro Street diesel truck or a diesel truck in a pull-in?
Nope. Never.
So what were you feeling when you got ready to let off the clutch?
Hope I don't mess nothing up.
Well, we know in pulling, you're only going to get better if you mess stuff up, right, Levi?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to find out your faults, no doubt about it.
You'll find the weak links.
There's always one somewhere, trust me. When you think, I spent all this money, I've got all this stuff figured out, I got top-notch stuff, I promise you there's going to be some bolt or some U-joint or some little thing that said, oh, no, that'll be good. I ain't got to worry about that.
Or one of them little rod bearings that likes to come out like popcorn.
Well, the only problem with yours, not the rod bearing just came out. The rod came out with it. I mean, the rod bearing was still there. It was just glued to the rod. But I lost a pull one time because of a 20-amp fuse. I got to the starting line and a wire came loose and it grounded and it shut off my tractor. That's all it did. It just shut it off. And I didn't have time to go back to the hauler and change the fuse because there wasn't but 2 of us there that night. Anyway, Grant Wayne, I'm going to pull you up here. I want to show this up. All right, Grant, talk us through. When you're building the RPMs up, first time out, what are you thinking? Building those RPMs up.
When you roll out that clutch, where I wanted that, I had the 12-valve in it, so I mean, we had to let her scream back then. So I was probably getting right there at 5,000, 5,500. And then I'm just dragging, and I finally let out on the clutch and finally let it go. And at that point, I'm just looking there at the end of the track and hoping I make it there, and I finally made it there.
So here's my question. So we were talking about before that you burnt the clutch up on that pass, right? Is that?
Yep.
But see, when you looked at the end of that run, did you know you had burnt the clutch up when you got ready to get off the track?
No, but I mean, I knew luckily the clutch wasn't new or brand new. It had a couple runs on it. So I mean, I still burnt the clutch up, but when we checked it anyways after, and I'm pretty sure we had a new one there, and we went ahead and put a new clutch in it while we had it out to check it, and it wasn't burn up, but I mean it was pretty toast.
It was. So here's another question. So you were talking about the changes on that truck. So what is the difference in the Mayor here in Albemarle and say the Mayor in Morrisville?
That motor probably only made about 900 horsepower, and it is like war slap out. And we've got basically a new motor in it, which is a common rail 24 valve, run off electronics and everything. And so now it's making about what everybody else is making now, about 1250, and it's just got more power in it. If you notice throughout the year when we was pulling with the 12 valve, when I get down at the end of the track, I wouldn't spin out. It would snuff itself out. It didn't have no more power at the end of the track.
Well, so let me ask you this, and this is because this is answering a question of mine, but also answering maybe some people following along here tonight. So do you just go buy a 12 valve motor and put it in? I mean, do you just go buy a long block and put it in, or do you do some performance upgrades to it?
You do a little bit of performance upgrades to it. I'm not exactly sure what they had in that thing. We are wanting to take it apart and see what it looks like on the inside of it. But now there's a couple of things you can do to them.
All right, so I'm gonna bring Levi's run up. Now we've already discussed Levi. We're not gonna bring up the Hickory run. Okay, we're not gonna talk about it. That's that one where the rods decided to exit the block.
Them rods just got scared of the dark.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, that was the only reason.
Well, now, and I'm not trying to jinx it, but let's pull this run up first.
Green light, green flag.
All right, I'm going to pause it right there, Levi. When you came out of the hole, to me, that sounded like a smooth hook. I mean, a smooth hook. Because you didn't hear the RPMs kind of shoot up real quick, and you didn't hear the engine lug. It just sounded like you just came out of the clutch good. What is it like driving that small block trying to come out of the hole with that truck?
Well, me and my dad, we built a real good, solid pulling truck. So I noticed on that track it was a downhill slope. So it was just to tack it up at RPMs what I wanted it at, and that was around 778, 7,500 that night, and just come out of it smoothly and get out of it as quick as you can, as smooth as you can.
Well, I mean, let's watch the rest of this video because this was an excellent run here. Now, I have a comment that I'm going to add to this, Levi. So if you can see it, you see what Tony Frederelli said? Big human catch.
He says that all the time.
Well, here's the thing. Where was it that you ran with the big guys? And that's right, it was. And you actually snuck up on a few of them guys. You were right there up on them. But I think that track was a little tricky out of the hole that night.
It was a real loose track. So the high horsepower trucks with all their wheel speed, it kind of slowed them down and led it to where my lower horsepower truck would hook up and actually catch to the same speed as what the bigger trucks were running, all because of the track.
Well, and one thing I want to talk about this truck here, of course it stopped right there. Let's go back to the start. I want to get right here, right when you launch out. So one thing I've always noticed with this truck, when you get ready to leave, especially when you get a smooth launch, because I have to edit all these videos, so I get to go back and watch them over and over again. When you leave with that truck, and this is my question, do you run a different rear end gear compared to a front end? Is your front end a little bit faster or slower than your rear, or are they both the same?
They're both the same.
Okay. It just seems like that front picks up and starts, in my opinion, it seems like it kind of comes out of the hole a little bit quicker. And I know back in the day, some of those old forward drive guys would either speed up or slow down the front end just a little bit You can't have a big difference, or you'll see a chassis twist.
That's a big thing to do in a 4-wheel drive national truck too.
Yep. So I didn't know if you were kind of doing the same thing. So that was kind of my question on that. So let's talk about tires a little bit. We brought this up a little bit earlier. Let's go into DOT world a little bit on these DOT tires. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this down here where we got a little bit better shot. And when you stop, if you ever stop, there we go. All right. So if we look at these are DOT tires. So what is your brand that you run, Levi? What is it? Can you pick particular brands, or do you just kind of choose whatever you want?
Well, you can pick any brand you want out of a DOT tire. The rules is it can't be no taller than 35 inches tall and can't be no wider than 12 and a half inches wide. That's what they have to be stamped with on the side of the tire. But you can choose anything. I've ran from Bulgars to Nitto mud graps, a set of Truxus, all Truxus, but Interco all terrains, to now we've settled into the Truxus tires.
And I guess these are working pretty good for you. Is that why you're sticking with them, or?
Yes, sir. Most of the tracks are harder tracks, so them don't pile up as much in front of the sled as a Bulgar does or a mud grap does.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know what he's talking about, right here in front of that buckboard. And let me tell you something, if you get on a loose track and you're throwing a lot of dirt in front of that buckboard, that's like pulling a ton more weight. So that's what he's talking about. He's just trying to stay on the top, get that little bit of traction off the top of it, and not dig holes with it, I guess, more or less what you're saying. Grant, is there any particular brand you guys run, or is it just kind of like whatever works this week and whatever's broken good?
I mean, we've been running them Truxus STSs. That's what we run about all year. But we do have a set of mud grapplers and a new tire that we're trying out called Kendas. And that's what we've put on the front of my truck. But all in all, we've just run them STSs just because they've so far been an all-around good tire.
So one thing, and Matthew Carter brought this up, it sounds like y'all have got y'all's brands picked out. You know, that seems to be working pretty good. How did y'all come on to that tire brand specifically? Did you just see other people trying it and it worked out good, or you just, hey, why not? Let's see what happens.
I was chasing a bunch of people trying to be able to run with them, and them were the tires that they had at the time. So I gave it a shot, and since then it's been, the trucks really liked them tires.
How about you, Grant? It's just kind of that's what's working for you right now.
Yeah, I mean everybody runs those tires on the back of the 2.6 trucks, and I mean there's a bunch of people that run mud grapplers on the front. I've never tried a set. I was gonna try a set up there in Benson. What the heck? But I was going to try to set up there in Benson. I don't know what happened to my computer. I was going to try to set up there in Benson, but I didn't. I put a set of Kendas on the front of it. And that actually got me up there really good. And I ended up liking those. And then we ended up taking my wheels and getting some Kendas put on it on the front. But other than that, I mean, everybody runs those STSs or the mud graps in the 2.6 class, but we've always run STSs, and they just seem to work out good for us.
So Tony's adding some comments up here. Y'all know how animated Tony is. No pink trucks with Chevy engines. So, and then Kate goes in there, takes a real man to rock pink. I'm guessing, Tony, are you going to put some pink on one of your trucks? Or hopefully not the one Sammy does. Or Sammy drives. But when you get that other forward drive out, there might be a little pink on that one, I guess.
That's the Ford motors. They're all it's all pink on the inside.
It's all, oh my goodness. Boy, we're gonna have a war here in a minute with Tony. This right side's gonna light up here in a minute, buddy. So guys, you know, and here's my goofy question tonight. If you're gonna take your girlfriend or your wife out on a date, and she asked you, what is the one, you got a choice of two things, movie theater popcorn or ice cream, which one are you choosing, Grant? Oh, he's thinking hard about this one.
I mean, probably all depends on what I'm wanting. I mean, me personally, I'm going for ice cream.
Well, I kind of figured that. How about you, Levi? What are you going to go with? Popcorn or ice cream?
That homemade ice cream at the truck pulls. That's what I'm going to.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, there's nothing like getting some of that strawberry. Man, with the put John Deere engines, man. We got a lot of vendors here this year. I'm telling you, these shows are getting bigger. They're getting better. If the good Lord to help us a little bit out on weather. If y'all know, the end of last season was just rough as far as getting pulls in because of weather. Hickory, Mooresville was just didn't have any rain at the show or had a little sprinkle. But, this last few shows, man, they were kind of rough. And then Pine Top's getting rained out. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not pulling in Pine Tops this year or I just saw something. I'm going to pull this up here in a second. We're not pulling in Ware Shoals or Pine Tops this year. Ware Shoals, just getting a date that worked with the drag strip was kind of tough for those guys to get figured out. Right now, they're working on some things for next season. Pine Tops, just basically, if you've ever been to Pine Tops, and Grant, did you go to Pine Tops when y'all went to the first year? When
Yes.
Carolina went the first year, you see the location. You're in the middle of town. There's like 9 entrances in that facility, and getting the manpower to work that show has been a challenge. So those guys are still working on some things. Hopefully going to come back, but right now they're working on trying to make it a little bit easier to manage and control. It takes a ton of manpower to make that one. Let's see. Hold on. Everybody, David Askew said ice cream always. Nobody. Now I don't know if you go to the movie theater and you get that Coke, and I don't know what's in a Coke at the movie theater, and you get out popcorn with about 300 gallons of butter. Obviously, you can tell I'm not afraid of butter. Man, that's kind of hard to pass up too. But I'm kind of like you. I can go for a homemade ice cream anytime. Oh, Logan Barnhart said that truck would look good in pink, Tony. Let's see.
Or purple. He used to have one that was purple.
That's right. He sure did. I forgot about that. Let's see.
You got a picture of it?
No, I don't. If you've got one, send it to me. I need it.
I don't have one at the moment, but I can probably find it for you.
You find me one. I would love to have it.
All right.
I like to pick on you guys. You guys are fun to mess around with. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been on here. I want to kind of wrap things up tonight, guys. Appreciate you joining us. We're going to be coming on pretty much every week, and some days are going to change compared to others until that first poll, because there's going to be more information coming out. There's going to be more breaking news. The biggest thing tonight, no doubt, was the schedule, and glad to have that back up. And I want to pull that up one more time. And thanks to someone correcting me on that, and I will fix that tonight. But yeah, Saluta's July 18th and 19th. But this is the schedule for the 2025 season. There may be a couple of date moves around here at the end, but basically she is locked in where she's at. Like I said, April 12th, first one, Albemarle, May 24th in Booneville. Look for that flyer. Should be out by the end of the week. And then Taylorsville, June 7th. That's a great venue, and we're going back to Greenville, Tennessee. I'm excited about that. I love that venue. Great track. Those guys are working hard to get it back. And no doubt the pull of the year last year, Lee's Diesel Performance at Piedmont Dragway. If you go to Julian, 2 tracks, it's the only 2-track facility that they run at, that we run at. But let me tell you something. The Carolina, the workers, the crew, Lee Daniels, those guys work hard. And I think we got something like 70-some vehicles out in a little over 4 hours. And that's booking. And we started a little bit late last year to a computer glitch. So, Julian, there's a reason why that's the pull of the year. No doubt. Glad to be back. There was some iffy if we were going to be able to get back. We're trying to figure that out. Thanks to Lee's Diesel Performance for Lee Daniels getting that figured out. Back in Saluda, no doubt. Can't wait for that one. Seal Coat, that's always a good one to go to. Rich Hill, Net, you talking about good vendors? Man, let's see. The Brunswick stew's good. Y'all got me talking about food. Now we're in trouble. So the Brunswick stew's good. The other thing there, the jerky. There's a jerky tent there. Dude, man, me and my wife spent like $50 there last year. Back in Mooresville, like I said, that may be a 2-day. And I know, Grant, you'll kind of like that there if that's a Friday and Saturday night, being there both nights, being close to home. And hopefully, good Lord will bless us with a little bit better weather. Back in Albemarle, October 11th, we'll have more on the class arrangements for each show coming up soon. We're finishing that kind of stuff up. And then rounding us out in Hickory, no doubt. That's going to be a monster show. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start wrapping things up here. Grant Wayne, thank you for joining us here tonight. Levi Sharon, appreciate it as always. The man that rocks the mullet better than anybody did in the 70s. Look at it. Check it out. That's pretty stuff right there. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a good night. If you got any questions, message me through Facebook. Contact Logan or Chad, one of us guys. We'll do what we can to help you guys out. And Chris, especially any rules or anything that you got a question on, contact Chris. He is the head track official, Chris Johnson. Just contact us through here. We'll send you where you need to go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Bert Forbes. Good night. God bless. We'll see you next week for more Dropping the Hook.